Okay, I think if we make a start, I can see that a few more people have joined. So hi to all the students. My name's Jess. You may have met me. I'm a member of the employability team in the School of Management employability team. Said that already, sorry. So we're really lucky that we've got 4 graduates here today to do a webinar for us. So we've got Dan, James and Charlotte Crawford, who studied in the School of Management with us. And then we've got James Foray and John McTiernan, who studied computer science. So they're going to be taking you through their application journey. They're going to be giving you lots and lots of tips and advice. So yeah, this is a really good opportunity. And remember to ask questions in the chat function, and I'm sure they'll answer those as they go through the presentation. So I'll start off by handing over to Charlotte. Yeah, off you go, Charlotte.
Thanks, Jess. So, hi everyone. Just going to go through. Oh my goodness, this is when the presentation stops working. There we go. So we're all graduates from Swansea University. So my name is Charlotte Crawford. I am an SAP applications consultant at Capgemini. I was in the School of Management, so I did my degree in business management, and I did the general pathway because I didn't want to specialise too soon. But joining Capgemini, I found myself in the procurement team, and I'm based in the Midlands. And you can find me on LinkedIn, Charlotte Crawford. So if you want to ask me any questions about either my, time at Capgemini or my time at university, please go ahead and add me. Thank you. And then we've got Dan. You on the call?
Yeah, I am here. So yeah, my name's Dan James. I am also an SAP applications consultant, but I am in the customer experience area. I did do business management, but I did the entrepreneurship pathway. As you can see, everyone's got their LinkedIn and Twitter, so as Charlotte said, add us all and ask us any questions if you think of any after this. And I'm currently based in Manchester.
I'll hop on while James joins. So hi guys, I'm John McTiernan. I study computer science at Swansea. And I'm based out of Manchester. I'm currently in the SAP Business Intelligence team, which is part of the Insights and Data business unit. So basically working on AI, machine learning and data science. Do we have James on the call?
Hello.
Do you want to introduce yourself, James?
Yeah, sorry I'm a bit late. Connection to Skype was a bit dodgy. But yeah, hi, I'm James. So I graduated with John back last summer in computer science. Currently based out of Treforest, where I'm an SAP application consultant, where I specify in development.
Perfect, thanks guys. So if you've got any questions or anything at all, if you just pop them in the messenger, we can get to them during the presentation or at the end. So that'd be really good, thank you. So I'll just quickly go through the agenda for today. So we're just going to go briefly through hints and tips for job searching, so kind of graduate jobs, jobs that you'll be looking for after university, job application stages, the post-application stages, social media, so using your personal brand, and who are Capgemini, which obviously all 4 of us work for. So I'll just start off with job searching. So how do I find graduate roles? For me, I think networking, especially at Swansea, the employability team do put on, and well, when things were, the norm, put on networking events, and I wouldn't have heard about Capgemini unless Capgemini and Swansea University didn't put on a ladies at lunch event. So that was an absolutely fantastic way. Any events that you can go to, even if they're virtual events now, just to try and meet people, online, and this really links into talking to recruiters and being able to use LinkedIn to apply to jobs, or to just message people as well if there's somebody, like a manager or recruiter that you can find for a company that you're interested in applying to. You can actually search for them on LinkedIn and try to start a relationship and start communicating through that. So that'd be like really good in this sort of environment now for what's happening with COVID-19. You can use company websites. So for me personally, I went straight to company websites that I was interested in applying to, and just applied through their websites. And also I know quite a few people who've used graduate job boards, Grad Intel, Grad Cracker, and also other ones. I think Debut, you upload your CV and companies will actually come and talk to you. So yeah, just try out as many job boards as you want, just to get a feel for the jobs that are out there, and jobs that you might want to apply to. So some quick tips. So look at least once every 2 weeks, have it as a kind of a habit, especially if you're in kind of like definitely in your third year. Just look, at what's around, set job alerts on companies that you're interested in, ensure that your profile is 100% complete. So this can be your LinkedIn profile, and also profiles that you've uploaded to the job boards, and only apply really for one role within a company, because the HR team for the company will kind of have a profile for you. So you don't have to apply more than once for most cases. So we'll move to applications.
Right, yes. So in applications, so CVs, they're vitally important. And when you're writing your CV, or even just about to send your CV to a company that you've applied for, you need to make sure it's up to date. Ensure all your experiences that you've done or had, such as job experiences, internships, or even projects, make sure that they're in your CV and it's actually in the most recent as well. Make sure that anything you've learnt, new skills, they're in there as well. Use bullet points. I think it's quite important that you get to the point of what you're trying to tell the reader. So it's just so it's easier for them to read and get to the information. Recruiters will likely go through hundreds of CVs at a time, and if you've got a long paragraph or a story there might be a good chance that the reader will just move on to the next CV. Key experiences, which are specific for the role you're applying for. So if you're applying to a tech role, you should more likely have experiences which are related to it, so that if you've got a bartending job and then someone who's got an experience in tech, they're more likely to go for that person. So if you've got some form of experience in that role, you should definitely include it, and include it higher up in your CV as well. And then also the last part of CVs is to demonstrate your skills, responsibilities, and achievements with examples. So just stating that you've done something, you've got experience in it, is great, but they haven't got anything to back that up. So if you can actually tell them what you've done, it would really, really benefit your application. So the next part is cover letters. So cover letters are brilliant. I mean, they can take some time to write, but they really, really help your application. So when you are submitting a cover letter, make sure it's tailored to the firm and to every application, and don't just send a generic template that you've just changed the firm's name, because they can tell when you've done that. In your CV, you shouldn't really spend too much detail in there, but your cover letter is a brilliant opportunity because you can show your passion, show your motivation for the role that you're applying for, and you can tell them a story about why you've actually chosen this career. State the reasons you're applying to that firm. So tell them why you want to be there. Tell them exactly why. Show your passion for what the company has and why it relates to you. And don't just give generic reasons that you can actually just take from the front page of their website, because again, they can tell, and it's not really that specific then. And then last point for cover letters, explain why you believe you're a suitable candidate. So how would your skills, experiences, strengths add value, or be just be more advantageous to their organization? So you need to go into detail into that just to see why should they employ you. And then the last point for applications is the application form. So you tend to find many jobs going at the moment where you actually need to fill out an application form, which is very similar to what's covered in your CV. So it generally is just an extension of your CV. So some areas of your CV you were trying to slim down to get down to potentially a page and a half. You can actually now include that into your application form. Second point, they want to see your knowledge and practical experiences on specific areas related to the role. So really read what they want. They will ask specific questions which will actually show the two differences between applicants. So really try and stand out here. And if you don't have any knowledge on an area, don't worry, just go do some research into it. But don't copy and paste something you just Googled or paraphrased. They can spot them a mile away. Pay attention to detail. So have you included appropriate attachments? So like your CV, your cover letter, spelling and grammar. If in doubt, even if you've proofread it once, get someone else to read it, just to make sure that it's there and everything is correct. Because it's just embarrassing if you've got loads of mistakes, and then as well, just don't leave any gaps. If they're asking you for a certain question, make sure you try your best in the application, because it's better than just to leave it out completely. And the final point on you is to don't leave any room for confusion. Application is designed to set you apart from other from other applicants. So you really want to state your case in the most clear, crisp possible way. Any potential employer should be able to look at your CV and your application and take note of your compliment and just really straight away. And then just also don't really use any language that's unnecessary, like acronyms, abbreviations, because it can get quite confusing if you're not really using it in the most constructive way. And then the last point on this slide is when to apply. So obviously there's loads of different times of the year that you can apply for different jobs, but so really in your third year, just before you start, you should be thinking about what job you want and what companies you want to apply for in the summer. And then at the start of your third year, around September time, you should then start looking quite frequently, as Charlotte mentioned before, at different jobs available. But also, if you do miss that September period and the end of that year, don't worry, keep looking, because jobs do just pop up all year round.
Thanks, James. Yeah, just add to that. So if you're in your third year and you're like, oh my goodness, like, September was ages ago. Yeah, don't worry. This is just a gentle nudge if you are looking for a graduate scheme or a grad job, after your year this year, and you're not staying on to do a master's or anything, just keep going, just keep looking. A lot of companies, and especially ones like Capgemini as well, they do hire all year round, so don't worry, but just ask advice, ask us, email the employability team, and just keep going. So thank you, James. Go to the next slide. So, if it wants to load, post application. So this is John.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte, and thank you, James, for that. Just want to quickly say thank you for all your questions, and we'll get to them at the end for some of the more detailed ones. So on this slide, we're just going to talk about what happens once you've successfully got through the application phase. So once you've sent in your application, fingers crossed you'll get an email back saying, you know, congratulations, you're through to the next stage. And the next stage can take many forms. So the main one that you'll see, it'll be skills tests. And normally it's broken up into 3 different skills tests. Normally, I think it's numerical reasoning, which is more your sort of like statistics and maths. There's some that do verbal reasoning, which is they give you a big page of reading to do, read through it, and then they'll ask you questions that will test your reading comprehension and reading skills. And then there's normally another one called, I think, logical reasoning, which is I don't know if any of you guys have done them before, but it's where they give you these kind of like funky shapes and you have to try and figure out what the next shape is in the sequence. And it's all about how you think about a problem, how you go about it, and how you find a solution. The main tips I have for this is just use practice tests online. There's a lot out there, and a lot of companies now are offering you the chance to do practice tests before taking the real thing. And these practice tests normally take the same shape as the ones you'll be doing for that company. So they're almost giving you a guiding hand into what you need to be doing, and then that way you can see what you need to build on before you actually take the proper test. Another one is just take your time, especially with the reading comp. It can get a bit stressful trying to read through a big page and trying to get it done in a certain amount of time. But honestly, if you rush through it, you're going to miss things, and that's the whole point. You don't want to be missing keep it the detail, because that's what they question you on. One thing to take into consideration, though, there are certain tests where they will, I think it's more for the numerical and the logical reasoning, they will take your end score and will compare that to the time, so they can almost see how accurate you were based on the time you spent. So the lower your time spent with the higher accuracy, they're going to prefer those candidates. So that's one thing to take into account. So in terms of Capgemini's tests, we do a situational strengths assessment, which is a bit different. It's less tedious in terms of having to do 3 different tests. It's one test, and it's normally 10 questions. Some may be video clips, some may be just paragraphs. And it'll be about everyday working life and how you go about solving certain problems. So it'll be about staying late to help a co-worker finish work. It'll be how to deal with deadlines, how to deal with the hierarchy within the workplace, and how to help seniors do work. And if a senior comes up to you asking you to do some work that isn't appropriate, how would you deal with that? It's used a lot by the big graduate companies such as Cap and PwC and the big 4 accounting firms, basically. So once you've passed this first stage, you then generally go to a video interview. I personally absolutely hated doing video interviews because you're having to do an interview with a computer, basically. There's no one there on the other end that you can get feedback from. So you're basically talking to a camera to yourself, which can be a bit strange if you've not done it before. So my main advice for this is just practice, lots and lots of practice. Honestly, you'll feel way better if you do a couple of practice runs before this. I think Cap, we do this. I think we might do this before the situational skills test, just because we like to get an understanding of the person's personality going forward. You basically just want to be really confident, both verbally and physically, and make sure you do your background research. And then finally, if you've passed both these tests, you should be invited to an assessment centre, which is basically on site with the company. They'll probably have a specific assessment centre that they'll tell you to go to on a certain date with some other candidates. So my main tips for this are just to be punctual. Again, make sure you're researched well on the company and their values. For example, at CAP, we have 7 core values that they really are looking for in a candidate. even if your technical skills might be off, there's certain companies that as long as you're the right kind of person, they don't mind having to spend that extra time training you up because they know it'll be good in the long run. So in terms of Capgemini's assessment centres, we generally do, I think there's normally around 3 or 4 assessments within the centre. So I think the first one's normally a group exercise, which will be useful for getting to know the other candidates and also your assessors. It's really good to get to know everyone at the event, because 1, you might be working with them in the future, and 2, even if you aren't successful, you might be able to link in with them later on and get some feedback, and that can help you in future applications. Then after that, there's normally a presentation, which can be group and it can be solo. I've done one in second year that was a solo presentation. Then for CAP, it was a group presentation. So just make sure, I know it can be a bit stressful and a bit, not ideal to stand up in front of people you've never met before in your life doing a talk to, but that's the sort of thing that a lot of companies are looking for, is just someone that's confident enough to get out of their comfort zone to do a group talk or presentation. And then there's generally just they normally do a one-on-one interview as well to almost reinforce the video interview. I know there's a couple of places that before the assessment centre they'll also do a phone interview as another barrier, which basically is the exact same as a video interview, but you can also get a bit of feedback from the way they converse with you. And that's about it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, John.
No worries.
And social media?
Yeah, so a little bit about social media and using your brand. Now, social media and using LinkedIn and Twitter can actually be a really good way to find jobs or get people to reach out to you about jobs, apart from looking through job sites and stuff like that. So now 75% of HR teams are required to search your social media before interviewing you for a job or taking you further through the process. So it's always best to keep your feeds professional, especially if you're using a site like LinkedIn or Twitter. If you don't want them to be seen by HR teams, you can also just keep them on private and add people that you want to see it, or have 2 accounts. Now, a lot of people will have 2 accounts on social media. They'll have their personal account and they'll have their professional account. And by having these 2 different accounts, it means that you can still post the stuff for your friends. You don't have to stay on private, but then you can link through to your professional account if people are looking for that. I mean, your personal account still shouldn't be anything that you wouldn't want professionals to see, because they'll inevitably stumble across it. But still, you can have your 2 different accounts to have your private stuff and have your professional stuff. 85% of recruiters say that your brand will influence their decision. So if you can post regularly, it will only benefit you. If you can focus on posting quality content that people will want to see. So if you can imagine yourself as an employer or as a recruiter and imagine the things you want to see. So this is stuff like telling your story and your achievements. So showing things that you're doing outside of what your job description says or what you should be doing as a student. So if it's taking part in societies or doing charity things or anything like that, or any side projects. So I know for me in uni it was running a business, anything like that you can put on your story that recruiters can see about, just to show that you're going above and beyond what you can do and that you're a proactive person. And obviously your achievements and keeping a record of them on like LinkedIn or keeping them on your pages is just another way that, apart from your CV, recruiters can see what kind of stuff you're doing and what you're achieving. Now, 82% of customers say that they trust a business more when their staff or their senior staff are on social media. So when you get a job or when you're looking for jobs, recruiters will be looking to see how active you are on social media, because it can be as much of a benefit to the company as it can be to you. If you can raise yourself as a thought leader and show your expertise on your LinkedIn account. Now, this at the moment may not be anything, you may not be an expert in an area, but if you can show your interest in it and start connecting with people in the area you want to go to, they'll see this and it will only benefit you. And when you join the career and when you become more of a thought leader in your expertise, depending on what the company is, this may encourage, even though you may not be a salesperson, this may encourage companies looking to invest in the product that you're working with or whatever you're working with, to choose the company because they've seen how you talk about it on social media. And this is obviously something that recruiters are going to be looking for if they can see that potential in you. It's also worth starting conversations. Now, don't be afraid to comment on people's posts on LinkedIn or Twitter, and start building connections with people. Using LinkedIn can be the easiest way if you want to skip a few steps in the recruitment process and go straight to the assessment center, or skip through all the putting your CV in and stuff like that. LinkedIn and Twitter can be the easiest way to do it. I love LinkedIn and Twitter because if you want to contact a recruiter within a company or someone high up within the company, all you have to do is search for their name, search for the company, or search for the job title, and they'll come right up and you can message them right there and then. That's why before you do go to an assessment center, see if you can find the people that are going to be there. Talk to recruiters within the company. So I know with Capgemini it's Dan Doherty or Gemma Brammill. If you're going in as a graduate, try and talk to these people, because these will be able to give you hints and tips as well, because these are the types of people that are going to be arranging the assessment centers. So by reaching out and talking to these people, or talking to people within the area that you want to go into in the company before you start, will only benefit you. Now, Capgemini.
So thanks, Dan. Yeah, so we'll just tell you a bit more about Capgemini. So Dan, if you want to start with the facts.
Yeah, so Capgemini is based in France. It started in France, but at the moment we are 270,000 employees. Our revenues after acquiring companies like Ultron is above 17 billion per year. We have 18 UK bases. So as you saw at the start, it's good because wherever you're based in the UK, whether it be Manchester, London, Swansea, wherever it be, there'll be a base that you can choose that's closest to you. And we're also in 40 countries. So I know a lot of people, if you fancy working in America for a bit, if you fancy working in Australia for a bit, you do have the opportunity to go and work in those offices in those countries and join the teams there and transfer back whenever you'd like. But because we're based in so many different countries, we work with a lot of different teams. Next, customers and partners. So some of the people you might know that we've worked with are HMRC, Burberry, Ultron, which if you're an engineering student, we've just acquired them. Rolls-Royce is someone we work with as well. And then a couple partners. So as you may have seen at the start, we all work in SAP, but SAP is only really a very small section of Capgemini as a whole. So we have partners with Amazon Web Services, Microsoft, and we sell a bunch of different services which Charlotte will talk you through. But we work in a lot of different areas, not just SAP.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, exactly. So Capgemini does so much, and there's so much to learn, there's so much to know. And yeah, it's not just kind of, you don't just go into Capgemini and then that's it, you're just stuck doing one thing forever. We can really network and talk to different people in the different departments, and really get a feel for the different things that Capgemini, sell as their services. So some of the services are, technology solutions. This can include intelligent automation, asset management. Obviously, we have cloud solutions, which can be implementing software as a service, cloud native applications. So you've got your transformation and innovation, cybersecurity, if you're interested in that. business operations as well. So you could be transforming a client's finance operation or optimizing a client's supply chain. So there's a vast amount of things that Capgemini do. And yeah, we obviously have so many employees across the world. So yeah, it's just a great company to work for as well. And then there's just a little bit more we have about Capgemini as well. So just touching on how we're structured in the UK. So quite a few of us are in the package-based solutions, so SAP will fit in here. So we'll be on projects, you know, in the UK, or we could be on projects around the world, working on different implementations and solutions. And then John is in insights and data, so that can include AI, machine learning, data governance, data science. We've got Dan in customer experience as well. So, you know, there's just so many, you know, factors and so many business units that make Capgemini. So yeah, if anyone's got anything else to add to this slide. But yeah, I think that was about it for what we wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you found this useful. And if anyone has any questions, we'll probably go through the questions now as well that you have put in the chat. And we'll probably unmute everybody as well. So if you want to ask a question out loud, you can. You're more than welcome to. But thank you so much for joining. So yeah.
Thank you to all of you from the employability team and all the students listening. That was really, really useful and insightful. I'm sure the students will have lots of questions for you now. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to say, James, did you want to go for the cover letter, just the layout? I know the employability team, I went to the employability team for cover letters. To help with layouts and things like this. So if you email, I think Jess put it in, the Some Careers at Swansea, I know that they definitely have a template for cover letters that they can share with you, which is like really quite helpful as a starting point for your cover letters.
Yeah, but I can go through it just quickly anyway, just to address the question. So I mean, there's several different areas. I said in the answers that you try and keep it to one page, potentially a page and a half. I wouldn't try and push further than that because it can be quite a lot to read, and they'll probably go through quite a lot of cover letters. But you should start with obviously, dear Sir, Madam, whoever you're addressing, the company itself. Heading, so summarize the purpose of the letter. What are you applying for, and then you got your introduction, so the role and opportunity as well. State your reasons for applying for the job. So this is the bit where you tell your story, how you're interested in your chosen career. Then as the next section, you should talk about the reasons for applying to that firm, and why are you applying to them specifically? And then next section, explain why you believe you're a suitable candidate. So this is where your skills, strengths and experiences come into it, and you should be trying to hammer home there how you bring and add value to the company. And then to finish off is your conclusion. So you're sincerely, if you know the reader, or yours faithfully if you don't.
Awesome. I think we've got a couple more questions, but I think there's one a bit further back that I might have missed. So it's, would you say it's possible to get interviews by connecting on LinkedIn, and if so, what tips do you have? So I didn't personally get any interviews through LinkedIn. I have heard of people doing it though. Dan might be able to comment on this a bit better, but I would assume it's a similar process to a regular phone interview, because it's probably going to be a call either online or a call actually using your phone. So major tips are just do your research on the company you've managed to get an interview with, and then network with the person you're actually talking to, if they're actually kind of that sort of person. That sometimes you'll get an interviewer that isn't that talkative, like they don't really want to talk to you other than about the interview. There's some that you'll get that'll be really nice, really helpful, and you'll be able to ask them like, where they're from, stuff like that. Like for example, I had one for Amazon in March last year, and the guy had an Irish accent, and because I'm half Irish, I chatted to him for about 10 minutes about like where we were from and stuff. So stuff like that is really good to do.
Yeah, and you can definitely get job interviews from LinkedIn. Just search, if you know the companies you want to apply for, search for recruiters within that company, and if they are not at the level that they can help you, then they can just definitely pass you on to the person that can. And it's an easy way to set up a dialogue before you go in and learn some tips and tricks of what they'll be looking for before you go in that they might not have put anywhere else. Charlotte, do you want to skip to our introduction slide again, just so it's got our LinkedIn names and stuff like that, in case anyone wants to add us now?
Yep.
Yeah, and we'll be sending these slides out as well.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
So we've got one from Tyler. Thanks so much for coming back to do this. Do Capgemini do Insight Days, summer or spring insights to allow students to engage with CAP before they graduate? You can definitely engage with CAP before you graduate. I would definitely use your LinkedIn, because there's a lot of CAP employees use LinkedIn and use it quite frequently. Just follow basically what Dan suggested in that slide. Is just go for it. Just honestly link in with someone or DM someone on Twitter and just get that conversation started. Okay, we've got another one. What's the transition been like from university to graduate employment? Did you apply en masse or have a structured approach to applying? Do you want to take this, Charlotte?
Yeah, good question, Alex. Thank you. What's the transition been like from university to graduate employment? It's been good. I think if you're, I don't know what year everyone, maybe we need a poll at the start to understand what year kind of everyone is, but like it was not that different from my internship. It's obviously depending on the company. You can have quite a lot of responsibility, and if you want that, then that's really good. But yeah, I think for me personally, I didn't apply to a lot of places. I was more structured and more like I wanted to do like quality over quantity. I wanted to really kind of take my time with who I applied to and really understand why I was applying to them, because I thought if I put more time and effort into kind of each application, I assumed that then I would get kind of more out of it and be able to go further within that company. So luckily that worked for me. I do know that other people who just applied to loads of different places that they were interested in and managed to get great grad schemes. But I would definitely would suggest a more structured approach, and really kind of what you're interested in and prioritize maybe per company. So you're really interested in joining, say, I don't know, whoever like your favorite company is, like put them first and research them and kind of tackle it. I think it will help you tackle the whole application process a lot easier then as well. So that would be my take on it. I don't know if anyone else has got.
No, I think I agree with that. I mean, I did a kind of a mix. So I did kind of en masse, but it was targeted en masse, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'd maybe do it maybe six a week, but this was maybe January time before I'd really had any work on. I'd just come back from Christmas break. So yeah, because for me, I found that you'd send 6 out and you'd only get maybe 3 replies, or you'd get 5 replies and 2 of them would just be straight up no or just no reply. So I kind of did a mix of looking for companies for like CAP, looking at companies like with really good grad schemes like PwC, CAP, all like the big four basically. And yeah, I think yeah, you made a good point of quality over quantity really, because there's a lot of companies out there that they'll advertise themselves quite well, but when you actually do some research, they might not be the best in terms of grad scheme or grad progression.
So what about opinions on company culture? I don't know. I've only been to my office once because I was put on a project straight away. So it's a lot of learning. You know, in the consulting industry, it can be, when you're not on the bench, very full on. A lot of challenges, a lot of learning. But that's what makes it so good as well, because no day is the same. You kind of really just put in there really hands-on experience, and you're kind of learning each day as you're going. So the company culture, I would say, at the office that I am on a customer site, or if I'm at home and obviously talking to everybody online right now, is really good. Like Capgemini especially, are kind of really modest, friendly, down to earth, and that's exactly the kind of place that I wanted to work for kind of after university. So that's my take on that question.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I mean, in Capgemini, we are very focused on culture, and I mean, I believe one of our core values is fun. So everywhere is set up to be very informal. So if you go down to the Holborn office, then you could be sat next to, you know, the head of Capgemini UK or whatever. Everybody talks to everyone. You find that you'll talk to somebody much more senior than you, and they talk to you exactly the same as if, you know, you're on the same position. Culture here is very important, and I'd recommend looking into the values of the companies that you're going to apply for, because they'll give you and the glass doors and stuff like that, because they'll give you a good example of what the culture's like. Because a lot of people in Capgemini have been here because I know my dad works for the company and he's been here for 12, 13 years, and that is the same story for a lot of people. There's a lot of people here that have been here for 20 years plus. So having a good culture in a company is really important to keep people staying around. And if a lot of people are saying there's a good culture, it's probably a good job to apply for.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with that. And just to add on about I think Charlotte mentioned that quite a lot of the time you're traveling and you're away at client site. A lot, from my experience at least, I've been on 2 or 3 projects, and every time the client site has been brilliant. Normally, I think a lot of people have the idea that office work is quite formal and quite rigid, but a lot of the time you'll go to a client site and it's relatively informal, and you're able to, you know, have a break and just sit down and chat with them and get to know them quite often. And I think that helps you get on with your work quite well as well, because, you know, you're getting on with everyone around you. I think that's kind of supported by Capgemini's values being brought in by Capgemini consultants and Capgemini contractors to these work sites. So we've got another one. As someone who's currently on a year in industry, is it possible to mention in a cover letter or an interview about experience from that year in industry too much? Is there a balance? I'd say yes and no. You want to draw from your work experience as much as you can, because at the end of the day, they want people to have some work experience, but you also want to be in a cover letter almost selling yourself to them in terms of stuff outside of work as well. So it might be you know, you've been coding like since you were young, or you might have been interested in engineering since you were young. You want to convince them that you are the right person for the job by showing your passion as well as showing your experience. I don't know if anyone's got to add on to that, but
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good question, because I think I was quite like that, because I did my internship with General Electric, and then when I came to apply to places, it was kind of like, oh, I've done this at GE, I've done this at GE, and this is blah blah blah. So it was all GE. But you know, is there a balance? And then for me, it was kind of like, while I was at university, like I needed that balance. So, you know, I also had a part-time job, and I was in sports societies, and I was trying to do this and working for the uni, and like trying to do other things outside of just who I am as a degree and who I am like my experience wise. And just try to balance out my personality with like other things that I did and my other interests that make me who I am, and like, you know, who I would be like a valued member of any job, you know, or any company that I applied to. You know, it's not just me and my experience, you know, you get me as a whole. So yeah, I think obviously you learn so much from your internships and any experience that you get. So obviously please do kind of be proud of all your experiences that you get from that when you are applying for grad jobs. But yeah, if you can balance it with other things like your interests or hobbies or passions, then I think that's really good too, because they'll see you as an all-rounded person then.
Just what a couple of things to add in there, if that's okay. So for myself, it depends on what they're asking. So if you're in an interview and they're asking specific questions, if whatever experience you've had where you can actually relate that to the question, use it. If it's the same one that you've just gone on about, an example would be in my interview. They were asking many questions, and I just went back to my third year project, because I learned so much in that experience, from leadership to just my coding ability to anything. It was, if you can apply it into that scenario and into that question, do it, and don't be afraid to go back to the same examples as well.
yeah, definitely. Okay, so we got another one. Did you ever have Capgemini as a placement? And if so, did you have to apply for your graduate job again, or did they save you a position for after you finished university? I personally didn't have a Capgemini placement at uni. However, I have recently been working with a guy on project who did. I think he did for his either a year in industry or an internship, and he did well enough at the placement that they saved him a spot for after uni. Yep. So when he came knocking on the door, they said, "Yep, we've got your name here, or you know, we've worked with you before. We know what you can do." So he was kind of almost shortlisted through the process, I think.
Yeah, I tried to apply for Capgemini for a placement back in, oh my God, what year? 2016, 2017. And they weren't really doing placements back then. I think they are doing more placements now, but I think they're still quite new for Capgemini. They have a really like quite matured graduate scheme in the UK. But placements, it's still quite fresh for Cap. So I don't think any of us had Cap placements, but yeah, definitely something, if you're interested in, definitely something to look into.
So we got another one. How has COVID-19 affected Capgemini's graduate recruitment plans? Good question. Charlotte, you might be able to answer this because you've been talking to Dan.
I think we need to go and ask our HR actually about that question. I think because obviously what's happening is kind of, impacting, a lot of our pipelines, our projects, things like that. We work very closely with obviously a lot of companies. But yeah, hopefully it won't affect Capgemini, and our recruitment plans in the long term. But I can imagine it's kind of raising eyebrows and raising questions for sure in the short term. So yeah, we'll take that away, and we'll make sure to get back to the employability team with what kind of Capgemini HR are saying, so that you can be kind of fully informed with what kind of the plans are going forward.
Okay, and we've got another one. How much and what type of experience did you have before landing your positions at Capgemini? So I suppose we can go around each one of us. So before Cap, I didn't have that much working experience actually. So I didn't do any internships or a year in industry. I'd only worked in Sainsbury's actually, stacking shelves. So I went in there pretty much fresh-faced in terms of work experience. But it's just how you frame yourself, really. As I said before, I think places like Cap they're more looking for a type of person than they are for experience. And I think, yeah, I think I kind of show that I don't have much experience, but they must have seen something in me to actually, take me on.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, John, on that, because it's not just kind of what experience you have, especially for Capgemini, because it's like they can just train you up in technical skills, they can train you in this, but it's kind of like who you are as a person. They can't exactly train you as easily in, who you are and your motivation and, how much you want to give to your job and to the company. So for me, where's the question? So experience. So yeah, I did 14 months at GE as for my placement, which sort of is quite similar to what I'm doing now. So that obviously helped me a lot. And then part-time work, I worked at McDonald's down the road from Bay Campus. So I just used that for kind of like teamwork examples. And then I think that was about it that I used for kind of experience for my CVs and for my interviews and stuff. But yeah, as like we were saying, like Capgemini, I want to see you kind of who you are as a rounded person. So, I would talk about playing sports. Actually, Capgemini's 7 values actually come from rugby. And that's one of the sports that I play. So it's just kind of like understanding how important teamwork is. If you can get that across, and just like your interests and hobbies that you do, kind of help you kind of land your positions at Capgemini as well. So Dan, James, do you want to talk about experience you had before getting a job at Cap?
Yeah. So in my experience, I did a summer internship at the end of my first year and then at the end of my second year, which definitely helps. I mean, go for interview. It's really good to talk about your experiences, and it's also good to show that you've been in a working environment as well. But like as Charlotte and John said, I wouldn't say it's vital to have loads of experiences. They really want to see you as a person. And do you fit within their values, and would you really help their company get better effectively? Dan?
Yeah, so before joining, my main experience was running my business, but apart from that, I sold champagne, the main champagne bar in Chester Racecourse. So obviously that's not really got much to do with it. So my main experience was the business, but it's more about like John and Charlotte said. Dan Doherty, who's the head of recruitment, he said in one of his interviews that they're mainly looking for your skills, and when you come to your assessment centres and through your interviews, it's not necessarily your experience, it's through the type of person you are, how proactive you are, and what you can bring to the table.
Yep, definitely. I echo that. So we've got two more questions. So another one from David. Is there anyone in a finance role that we could get in touch with? I personally don't have any contacts in finance. I'm not sure about you guys, but if not, I'm sure we can find someone and we'll send that out.
Yeah, I know people in SAP finance. What kind of, if you add me on LinkedIn and let me know what kind of finance role you're looking for, I'll be able to put you onto someone, I'm sure.
Yep. Yeah, because I think we have a team called Financial Services, I think.
Yeah.
So it really depends on what sort of finances you're looking to go into.
Yeah.
So we've got another one from Cam. Any advice in particular for students going into the last year of uni? Lovely. Okay, so for me personally, I made sure I selected my modules so that I had as much time as possible for my end of year project. So I'm not sure what it's like for other subjects, but for computer science, you choose 6 modules for your final year, and you can kind of choose the split depending on what modules you choose. So I chose to do 4 modules that happened to fall in the first semester, and then I had 2 modules that fell in the second semester. That gave me the time to do my applications for jobs and do my end of year project in my second semester because I had less uni work to do. But that did mean that my first semester was very hands-on. So I think in general tips for third year is just be prepared for the onslaught of work you're probably going to have to do. Make sure you're putting time into your end of year project throughout the year and not just the month before, because you end up staying up every night till like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. doing your end of year project, and most of the stuff you write will be nonsense and you'll have to rewrite it anyway. And yeah, honestly, have fun with it as well though. Don't burn yourself out to a crisp. You want to, still socialize, because otherwise you will go a bit mad, I think. Don't know if anyone else has any other sentiments to add, but
yeah, I think it's the same as you. Just space it out across the year, because with business as well, you have a project that spans the whole year. So just pace yourself. There can be a lot of work if you leave it all to the end, but if you make sure you're putting in and planning things out, it'll be a lot easier across the whole year.
One thing to add from myself is the summer before you go into your third year, don't waste it. Do something, be proactive. If you can get an internship, great. If you can't, just do a project, do something, look at different jobs, look at different firms. Have a proactive summer. Obviously, you're gonna need some downtime as well, but don't just waste it playing Call of Duty. Actually, be proactive.
Yeah, definitely. Even if it's something completely new to you, even if it's not a skill you have, you could always pick up something new to do over the summer that is going to benefit you down the line. And even just that couple months of experience might be, the tipping point for some employers.
Yeah, exactly. Anything you can do to add to your CV, add to your profile, even if it's just kind of setting up your LinkedIn profile. But yeah, just reiterating what everyone, all the guys have said. Third year is such a year for you to be proactive. It's time to take everything seriously if you haven't already. And make sure, for me, it's like I tried to make sure that I went to kind of all my lectures, all my seminars, and then that just kind of gave me like such a good structure to kind of do my work, do it bit by bit, so that I wasn't overwhelmed, because I was kind of doing so many different things to try and be as proactive as I can and to build my CV. So yeah, that's kind of advice. But yeah, definitely don't waste your summer. Try and do something. But yeah, obviously best of luck for your third year. And if you've got any other questions or anything, just add us on LinkedIn if you need any advice or just someone to talk to during your third year about grad jobs or anything like that. So yeah, I think
that's all the questions we've got for now. So if anyone's if we haven't got any more questions, I think it's a good place to wrap up.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, perfect. Thanks everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you for attending. Stay safe.
Yeah. Stay safe.
And wash your hands.
Wash your hands. And yeah, best of luck guys for everything, and yeah, message us on LinkedIn. We're hoping to do kind of a few more of these talks if Swansea Uni will let us, just about different advice. Just say yes. So yeah, just kind of like more advice and just kind of like building relationship with you guys. We're just here to kind of give back, give our advice, just to make sure that everybody is kind of as successful as they can be, sort of thing. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you all. We'll definitely set up another one of these soon for everybody to kind of listen again and spread the word with your friends.
Yeah,
thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.